D2 Word Live with Rip Blue Dust Tides.
No. He loves blue dust. He wants to be blue dusted all over the place.
Whatever you say, gold dust, blue dust, yellow dust, green dust.
Ass dust, porn dust, corn dust.
Fish dust, duck dust.
Pickle dust.
Oh, and by the way, happy Valentine's Day for those who are listening. And we decided on this very day we are going to review the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House event that took place on February 14th, Valentine's Day of 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee at the Memphis Pyramid with an attendance of 19,028. And the commentators for this event was Jerry the King Lawler and your boy Michael Cole.
No, it's still your boy Michael Cole.
Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole, that's at this time period, that spelled future WrestleMania match right there. God damn it, no! That was crap. And of course, the ring announcer was Howard Finkel. Yes, I said that just to make you laugh, knowing we freaking reviewed that shit already.
Yep.
And then special shout out to the 2 Sunday Night Heat matches that took place prior to this event, which was Viscera defeating Test by disqualification, and Billy Gunn and Tiger Ali Singh ended in a no contest. So there you go.
Yep. That's why Billy Gunn was the guest referee for the Shamrock and Venus.
Yeah, later on in the show.
Match.
And just like last time, we ain't going through every match spot for spot, only the freaking, highlights, what stood out to us. Of course, we had the opening video package focused on the McMahon-Austin feud with an old Valentine's Day theme song playing. I don't know the name of that song. It sounded like it came from, the 60s.
Probably.
And of course, then the pyro went off in the arena. Michael and Jerry Lawler freaking introduced everyone. It's introduced the pay-per-view, kicked off the pay-per-view proper here. And the reason Jim Ross wasn't the reason Jim Ross wasn't on this show is because he was fighting his medical problems at that point. That's been well documented, right?
Yeah.
But since they were in Memphis, Tennessee, for this event, which is Jerry Lawler's hometown, the crowd was chanting Jerry during the opening sequence.
Well, they're also saying Jerry should run for governor of Tennessee.
And for that, we jump right into our first match proper of this pay-per-view, which was Gold Dust versus Blue Dust. Jesus.
Your favorite match of the night, wasn't it?
I cannot believe. All I had to... Remember our freaking Royal Rumble 98 review?
Yes.
I think one of the things you did say was Blue Dust, talking about freaking what they kept calling Gold Dust throughout the Rumble match, too.
Yes.
And I'm just like... And then when I seen this match on the lineup, I'm like, oh, God damn it. And I just had flashbacks to you, pretty much the bit that we just did at the start of this one. That's pretty much how it went. Of course, Blue Dust, we all know, was played by the Blue Meanie here.
Yes.
Goldust made his entrance, but... Yeah, they did a little something weird, because after Goldust's entrance, they showed the... events that led up to this one. Yeah, that image of freaking Blue Dust sitting there on that couch was disturbing.
Naked.
I am not putting that image up here, but all I could think about was oh yeah, this is the type of shit that would be on the screen when my vanilla friends walk in and they'd be like, this is the reason why we don't watch wrestling. Because it's freaking weird. Right?
That's why I watch it, because it's weird.
Of course, we all know that was your favorite image.
No. We all know that was your favorite character, but the blue meanie was Blue Dust.
Heck no.
You wanted to be, like I said, you wanted to be blue dusted all over. You wish you were there.
Oh, hell no. It's like, oh, heck no, man. You know what's funny? They both came out to the same theme song, too, by the way.
Shattered Dreams?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry, but the Blue Meanies never really had a good match, but this match was short. Right.
Also, shout out to the Sunday Night Heat match, which was Gilbert that won his first match.
Yeah, that was they showed that as a Raw highlight in this one. I was gonna mention that too. But either
I got it before you.
Yeah.
I stole your thunder.
Yeah, because freaking Blue Dust distracted Goldust during that match with that image. I'm like, that's pretty distracting too. I would not want to see that. Right? Of that backstage promo segment. And I'm like, who the hell thought? I know this was the Attitude Era talking about, but who the hell thought that was a good idea? That's just disturbing in the modern day.
Someone that really wanted to imitate Goldust.
Can you imagine, like, if a modern superstar for a feud did that same thing that Blue Dust did or the Blue Meanie did back then, hyping up this match? I could imagine Kevin Owens just sitting there on a freaking couch wearing nothing but something over his groin region.
Yeah.
That's how disturbing it was to me, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, the match started off, Goldust actually nailed a spine buster, followed by a sit-out neck breaker, right?
Yeah.
Goldust, Blue Dust, whatever, and then after a freaking uppercut and a clothesline, Blue Dust left the ring. And at this point, I had enough of this Blue Dust, Goldust bullshit, honestly. So yeah, Goldust went back out there to go after him, but Blue Dust countered whatever he had. Actually, no. He went after him. He brought Blue Dust back in the ring. It was just pretty much almost a one-sided squash, but yeah, Blue Dust got back in the ring. Blue Dust got the upper hand, hitting a drop kick to the left leg of Goldust.
Yep.
Yeah, but then Goldust got the upper hand, and well, do we really have to talk about the freaking wedgie spot in this match?
He gave him a atomic wedgie and then spanked his ass.
Thank God this was the opening contest. Shit, if I was watching this back in '99, I'd be like, nope. Right.
He took him to the woodshed and gave him an ass whooping.
Yeah, but then shortly after that, Goldust attempted his freaking Shattered Dreams, but Blue Dust got out of there and nailed Goldust in the face with a little bit of offense. Not much.
Yeah, but then it was dust to dust. Goldust hit his freaking curtain call, and that was it.
Yeah, after Blue Dust missed a moonsault, Goldust hit the curtain call to win the match and put Blue Meanie out of his misery, and us too. Right?
No, it wasn't just that. After the match, he literally did Shattered Dreams and kicked him in the nuts.
Yes. Yeah. After the match, Goldust freaking propped freaking Blue Dust up and nailed him with the Shattered Dreams right in his blue balls. Match was really freaking short, but what's your thoughts on this one?
At least he was wearing clothes.
Not the greatest match. I've seen Dustin Rhodes or Goldust compete in way better matches than this.
Yeah.
So it's like, this one really didn't do it for me, but, there was a little bit of spots, but, not much for me to be like, oh, this is a 5-star classic or anything. Felt more like a match you could see on Raw.
Just because of the cringe.
This was a match from bell to bell you could see more on freaking Raw, or at the very least Sunday Night Heat. They didn't have to put this on pay-per-view.
It had to be on pay-per-view because it was a grudge match versus him versus the Blue Meanie, which was portraying himself as Blue Dust.
Of course, it was shortly after this event where the Blue Meanie and Goldust actually formed an alliance with each other. And boy, that was short-lived. Yeah, right.
I don't think it lasted even a month.
Maybe it lasts about a month, maybe 2 months at most. I don't know. I don't care. Moving on. Right?
Yeah,
then after the match, they showed a clip from Sunday Night Heat when Steve Austin confronted Vince McMahon in the ring, or in the cage, hyping up this event. And I guess the freaking stipulation before the match was like, if Austin were to hit McMahon, Austin would forfeit his match with McMahon. Right?
yeah.
So in a bit to try to provoke freaking Austin during this Sunday Night Heat skit, McMahon spat in Austin's face.
Yep.
And then Austin replied saying he's going to wipe this McMahon spit off his face with McMahon's blood.
Yep.
How much do you hate someone to say that? By the way.
Oh, Vince McMahon and Stone Cold hated each other.
Exactly. Ugh. And then we go to possibly, in my opinion, what is the best match of the night. And that was for the vacant hardcore championship between Bob Holly and Al Snow.
Which later he became Hardcore Holly because of the hardcore title matches he's been in.
Yeah, so...
And yet again, I give you 500, Alex, for signs that we will not see in WWE today.
Oh yeah, you notice a sign in there?
It said got head and we want head.
Yeah, I don't think those signs would be appropriate in the modern day. Of course, back in 99, those were Al Snow signs, and they didn't really care.
Well, also, I don't think Al Snow's entrance music would be appropriate because he's like, what do we want? What do we need? And everyone was really yell, head.
Yeah. But anyway, backstory of this one that they briefly mentioned. Road Dogg was a champion who got, quote, injured in storyline. So he got attacked, injured, whatever. The hardcore title was now vacant. And Al Snow said, I'm the hardcore champion now, but then he tried to have a hardcore match with himself. Bob Holly came out to try to stop him, and he attacked Bob Holly, thus setting up this match. Right?
Well, he had done an open challenge, so Bob Holly from the Job Squad, which Al Snow created,
Yep.
and brought Bob Holly in.
Now,
Decided to come out and didn't give him respect or anything and just started beating the shit out of him.
yeah. Now, this match I've seen many times over. I think this is like the only match I've seen on repeat from this event over the years, by the way. But, we'll talk about it, and I'll try to judge it as best I can here. Because this ain't your traditional match. Yeah, right when the match began, both of them left the ringside area quickly. Snow freaking attacked Holly with a chair, and then they went over the barricade into the crowd. Right?
No.
Yep. And of course, out in the crowd, Holly hit Snow in the ribs with a chair. Right? Then later, then Holly then slammed Snow into steel steps. And he also sprayed the fire extinguisher into Snow's face and hit the bottle on his head.
He didn't hit the bottle, he smashed the bottle.
Over Al Snow's head, right?
Yes.
Of course, Snow tried to battle back, using the fire extinguisher and sprayed back towards Hardcore Holly, or Bob Holly, whatever you want to call him. Right?
He was going by Bob Holly at that time.
And then both of them were tagging each other with a trash can afterwards.
Yeah.
I think at this point they were in the back. Holly even nailed, and then later on, a little later on, Holly even nailed freaking Snow with floor tiles in a Budweiser container in the back.
Yeah. He took Steve Austin's Steve Weiser freaking beer holder and just beat the shit out of Al Snow with it.
Yeah, and then Al Snow then attacked Harley with a bunch of broom handles to the back, along with some mops, and somewhere Perry Saturn smiling ear to ear.
Well, he broke two moppies.
Exactly. Thank you if you got that reference. Yes, you did. Right?
And you were saying, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yep. Oh boy, I know. We're fools. Yeah, and then after freaking both of them were fighting near the production truck, which saw Snow toss Holly in the production truck. Holly then freaking sent Snow into the parking lot sign and hit him in the back and hit Snow in the back with it. At this point, they were like in the parking lot making their way to the back area, out on the outskirts of the arena.
Yeah, and then they went to the outside, and freaking Al Snow got hit into a no parking sign.
Yes. Yeah, and out there, freaking Holly tried to cover Snow on the road, but it was a kick out. They continued their walk out there.
I just like the fact Jerry's like, watch out for the freaking cop car.
Exactly.
And then he's like, oh, I think the cop car is parked in a parking lot.
Yeah, and then after freaking Snow sent Holly into some cement structure out there, freaking Holly threw Snow into a fence. And they were brawling towards the Mississippi River at this point in the match.
Into the Mississippi River.
Yeah, they were brawling towards it at this point. Oh yeah, and when they were falling in the back, I forgot to mention this. Al Snow actually hit Holly in the head with a freaking payphone. And he was like, here, use this, reach out and touch somebody. And I'm just like, payphone, that's a revenant from the past that kids won't know today.
Exactly.
Of course, going back out there, out to where they were, near the fence area now. Freaking Snow choked Holly with some barbed wire off the fence out there, and he goes, and Snow was like, yeah, I'd like you to meet my girlfriend, barbed wire. It would have been better if he said Barbie. I'm like, okay, the comedy's at its best here. Right?
Or
Barb, right? Of course, Holly then freaking fought back. He actually hit Snow in the back with a stop sign. I guess they were going to try to do some spot with a wheelbarrow, but it tipped over, so yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So they walked.
They were hitting each other with the damn tire, though.
Yeah. And at this point, they were walking to the bank. They were at the banks of the Mississippi River here, where freaking Holly nailed freaking Snow in the back with some sticks, including whipping him and just pile of sticks out there.
Man, what was so funny is how that Bob Harley fucking beat his ass with a fucking branch.
Yes. Some of the shit looked devastating.
Broke and hit the freaking cameraman, and the
yes.
Jerry's like, well, the cameraman's hardcore too.
Yes. Yeah, but shortly after fighting on the banks, hitting each other with objects out there, Holly was the first one to get sent into the river. Right, at this point, and then shortly afterwards, Holly sent Snow into the freaking river.
Yes.
Right. And according to it was very cold out there, and that freaking water was freezing. Can you imagine that?
Well, also, Jerry made a joke like, talk about shrinkage.
Oh, shit. Not a problem for you.
Oh, no, I know it's not a problem for you, mini centimeter man.
No. And Michael Cole on commentary even know that it was 30 degrees out where they were at that point. So
was just wearing shorts.
Yeah. So yeah, it was freezing out there. where they were. And yeah, and afterwards, this was a part where Holly hit Snow in the back with a freaking branch or stick, and it broke and bounced off the camera guy that you mentioned earlier.
He beat his ass with a branch.
And then freaking there was some chain link fence right there, rolled up. So Al Snow tried to unroll it. Holly attacked him but then Holly laid out the freaking dang chain link fence right there. But Snow tried to battle back with kidney shots to Holly here. Yeah, and then freaking Holly nailed Snow with a stick. And then kicked freaking Snow in the ribs. And shortly afterwards, Holly wrapped Snow up in the chain link and pinned him pinned him right there. So the winner of this match, a new hardcore champion, was Bob Holly.
Yep.
Your thoughts on this brutal, unique type of match for the hardcore title?
It was different.
Exactly. So yeah, I thought it was good for what it was.
Well, this also was where Hardcore Holly was formed too, so.
Yeah, and a lot of people look at this match that we just talked about. It pretty much said that that's where the gimmick of Hardcore Holly was actually born. Bob Holly's most successful gimmick. Right.
Yes.
But we all know your favorite gimmick that Bob Holly had was Bombastic Bob.
Nope, that was you yet again.
Quit pinning that shit on me.
You like Bombastic Bob and Bodacious, whatever the fuck his name was.
No, that was your favorite tag team.
That's what it was.
No, that was your favorite tag team.
No, that was your favorite tag team. You like the new Midnight Express. Just admit it.
Hell no, I don't. That team sucked. Of course, after the match, Hardcore Holly walked in all the way back into the arena while the fans cheered him while friggin' they left Al Snow still wrapped with the fence.
Yeah.
And yeah,
get some shit about fucking Al Snow after that.
Yeah, and then freaking Hardcore Holly walked to the ring, celebrated with the hardcore title, and obviously, like we mentioned, this was a match that people say turned Bob Holly into Hardcore Holly.
Yes.
Now, would Hardcore Holly go on to be a big main eventer after this? Not exactly, but at least this was a gimmick that got him over as a fan favorite from that point forward. All right.
Yep.
Of course, after this, they showed a clip where The Undertaker was talking to the Ministry of Darkness, all 9 members of the group, and told Mideon that he faces the big boss man to take his soul and weaken his body.
Yes.
Which brings us to this next match, which was the big boss man representing the corporation taking on Mideon representing the Ministry. And this match is kind of unique since both men were heels at this point, feuding with each other. It was a corporation versus the Ministry feud overall.
Yes.
So yeah, both made their entrances, and Boss Man got the advantage early with repeated punches. Yep. Including Mideon then. Yeah, and another highlight was Mideon hitting freaking Boss Man with a running clothesline here.
Yeah.
Of course, eventually they both ended up going to the outside of the ring. And Boss Man went to go take a steel chair and attack Mideon with it, but Mideon moved and the chair hit the ring post.
Yeah.
And you gotta think, if Boss Man would have nailed that chair shot, he would have been disqualified. But this was the Attitude Era. They relaxed on the rules most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then back in the ring, another highlight was Big Boss Man freaking applying the most devastating hold on the meeting, a chin lock.
Yes, your favorite hold, the mighty chin lock.
And of course, at this point, Lawler was kind of confused, talking about how the Ministry is getting cheered, even though technically the Ministry was a heel faction at this point. I think they were only. I think the Ministry of Darkness was cheered because they were feuding with McMahon's faction, despite being heels themselves. And of course, the Undertaker is a veteran there, so even as a heel, he'd probably get cheered most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
Even back then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, then after Mideon hit a clothesline on the freaking Boss Man, he also was biting on Boss Man's head, trying to weaken him down some more with an illegal tactic. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Boss Man came back, nailing a running splash on the Mideon, who was up on the turnbuckle at this point. And the fans weren't really into this. At one point, they were all chanting boring, and I'm just like, I'm feeling it right about now. No, and that's not any disrespect to the late Big Boss Man and Mideon, of course. I've seen better matches from those two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, freaking Boss Man applied a full Nelson on the Mideon, but Mideon got out of it with a German suplex, or what looked to be a German suplex, the counter to it. Yeah, and then after a back body drop and a double clothesline, Mideon got a back elbow on Boss Man, and he posed for the crowd, got no reaction because the fans didn't really care. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, it was at that point that Mideon hit, or that Big Boss Man hit the Boss Man Slam on a Mideon and got the pinfall win. Now, before we talk about the post-match angle here, which there was one, your thoughts on this Boss Man Mideon match?
Man, it was
It didn't set the world on fire, I know that. Just kind of felt average to me, and it was a match between two heels at that point, so of course the fans probably weren't going to be into it as much, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like face versus face where they go wild for both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, to me it just felt more like something you could have seen on Raw at the time.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I mean, both were good workers in their prime, but I hate to say that, but I'd seen better. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, after the match, the other Ministry of Darkness members came out, and then The Undertaker freaking got into the ring, making his entrance. And the lights went back on. Viscera freaking was seen hitting a running splash on the Boss Man. Of course, the other Ministry of Darkness members at this point were Edge, Christian, Gangrel, Bradshaw, and Farouk. Right?
Yeah.
And Viscera was hit 3 running splashes on Boss Man. And the Ministry of Darkness carried Boss Man towards the Undertaker as they all walked to the back.
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering, this was the start of that whole angle between Boss Man and Taker's match for WrestleMania 15, which that match sucked, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, hell, I think we even ranked the Boss Man and Taker's match from WrestleMania 15 low on our Undertaker WrestleMania tier list.
Yep.
So, yeah, that one kind of didn't work. Right?
Yep.
And speaking of WrestleMania, up next aired a commercial for WrestleMania 15 for March 28th of 99, which is one of the events we're going to have to unfortunately review one of these days. All right.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I remember that was good from WrestleMania 15 was the main event. The other matches, I just either don't remember, forgot about, or just didn't, or they were just crap. I just didn't care about them. All right.
Yeah.
But when we go into that event in detail and depth, you'll know why. All right.
Yep.
Of course, we go backstage where Kevin Kelly was interviewing D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, and Ivory. D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry getting ready for their tag team title match at this point. And Brown pretty much said that they found somebody that couldn't trust Deborah, and it's Ivory. Right?
Yep.
And of course, freaking Ivory, during the build-up for this, said that if Deborah were to get involved in any way, that Ivory was going to rip Deborah's clothes off.
Yep.
So you can only imagine what Jerry Lawler was saying in commentary during this whole damn match.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ivory did debut on the Raw prior to this event, so there you go. Yeah, and Ivory wasn't the greatest wrestler ever, but we all know she was in the best. A couple years later, about a year or two later, she was in the best wrestling stable ever. And I say that loosely. And I say that loosely.
That was your favorite.
Heck no. But anyway, Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown entered the ring with Ivory, and they came out to Mark Henry's Sexual Chocolate theme song. Yeah. And this was when Mark Henry was in that sexual chocolate gimmick of his career.
Yeah.
And of course, Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett with Deborah made their entrances, and Jarrett and Owen were the champions heading into this one. Oh, boy. Yeah, I want to focus on the positives here, but yeah. I'll talk to you about, it's like, let's talk about that after this matchup. Right. Ugh. Well, in the beginning of the matchup, here a highlight from the beginning of the match, like, Mark Henry got the advantage over Owen Hart with punches along with a clothesline, right?
Yep.
Yeah, then D'Lo Brown got the tag in and sent Owen into the ropes, but Hart reversed it into a bulldog, right?
Yep.
So it's like, Jerry got tagged in shortly afterwards, did it, and actually hit a drop kick on Brown, but Brown followed back, came back, got the momentum back again, nailing a power slam on Jarrett for the 2 count.
Yeah.
A little later on, freaking Brown and Henry did a double clothesline on both their opponents. Or Henry got a double clothesline on both the opponents, right? Of course, Deborah stood on the apron to blow a kiss to Mark Henry, distracting him. And yeah, distracting him, and Brown was telling Henry that's why Ivory was there for Mark to stop Deborah here. And the whole time, freaking Jerry Lawler was all like, I want more interference from Deborah, because we all know what kind of a horn dog he was.
Yeah.
He just kept saying that throughout the match. I'm like, it was almost tempting to yell out, dude, shut up. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Owen hit a corner clothesline, I believe, onto Brown. Also. Yeah, then Hart freaking hit a spine buster leading to a jump fist off the top rope from Jarrett, off the ropes from Jerry here onto Brown, right?
Yeah.
Of course, D'Lo Brown avoided another Jarrett attack, but Owen got a cheap shot in. Referee didn't see. That's great heel tag team work right there. Right?
Yep.
We see it a lot during these reviews. Of course, Brown didn't manage to hit a suplex on Owen, but Owen freaking came back with an enziguri on Brown for a 2 count. of course, at this point, Jarrett got the tag in and hit a double back elbow under Brown, leading to, once again, the most devastating hold in pro wrestling history, a chin lock. Sorry, I have to point that out every time I see one.
What is a chin lock the most devastating move? That's what the fuck I want to know.
Yeah. It's a friggin' joke. Just like the least devastating move is the Blue Thunder Bomb. It never works, except for that one time on Raw recently.
It works. Okay, you ready?
Of course, Owen Hart freaking then was a legal man, hitting his signature spinning heel kick on Brown for a 2 count. Right? And of course, Owen and Jarrett nailed some double team maneuvers on Brown while the referee was distracted once again. Right?
Yep.
I mean, we see that a lot in these tag team wrestling here. Of course, Brown did manage to fight back, hitting a cross body block for a 2 count. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, in the corner, freaking Brown reversed freaking Hart's 10 punches in the corner with a running power bomb. I thought that was pretty good way to counter that.
Yeah.
And as you alluded to, there was a sign that said Lawler for mayor. That never happened. Instead, this is Memphis, Tennessee. You know who ended up being mayor of Knoxville? Probably near here. Yeah, it was a guy wearing the freaking red mask later on that we'll see.
Kane.
Yeah, that's dripping with irony. Right? Ugh. Yeah, of course, freaking D'Lo Brown got the hot tag, and then Henry went after Jarrett, and Henry was a house of fire delivering punches to both Owen and Jarrett here. And of course, he was going to hit a running splash, but he missed. But he didn't get that because Owen and Jeff moved out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Brown got in and hit jumping side kicks to both Owen and Jarrett here, which I thought looked good. Right?
Yeah. Well, Deborah still got involved yet again.
Yeah. We gotta make this point here. Jarrett tried to leapfrog or whatever, but Brown dropped him with a spine buster for a 2 count with Owen making the save, breaking it up the pin attempt. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, of course, Brown got rid of Owen by hitting a leg drop on him. So he went down. Deborah was freaking trying to get distracted. This didn't work because Ivory showed up. And she started yelling at Deborah, right?
Yep.
And at this point, Brown was trying to going over them while Ivory was distracted. Brown was trying to break him up. The little argument at this point. Of course, back in the ring, Henry was about to hit a press slam. Had Jarrett ready for the press slam over his head, but Owen got back to the ring with Jeff's guitar and he hit Henry in the back of the knee with the guitar, right?
Yeah.
And then Owen Hart went back to the outside of the ring, and then he held Brown on the floor, preventing him from getting into the ring while Jarrett slapped the figure 4 leg lock on Henry. And surprisingly, and this is a rare sight that we ever saw, Henry tapped out. So the winners of this match by submission was Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett, who retained their tag team titles at this time.
Yeah.
In all my years being a wrestling fan, I'd never once seen Mark Henry submit until this match. I think this is the only time I recall Mark Henry tapping out in a match to a submission hold.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this match?
It was decent.
It's like,
This is also before the unfortunate accident that happened to
Owen. Yeah, I think this was
Months
like
later.
I think this was like the last pay-per-view victory Owen got in his life too.
Yeah.
Either that or wait, no, I think Owen and Jarrett were successfully retained at Mania. But as for a non-Big Four pay-per-view, this was Owen's last big win on a non-four pay-per-view like a CB show.
Yeah.
Oh boy, and we know what happened. We literally know what happened like a few months later after this. We really don't need to talk about it here. We'll talk about that whenever we get to that unfortunate event. God, I really don't want to talk about the event, but I know eventually we have to at some point. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, after the match, Ivory went up to Deborah and ripped off. Yeah, and then ripped off the top of Deborah's business suit attire here, and the crowd went wild for that. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Jeff Jarrett and Hart freaking saved Deborah from losing any more clothes and covering up with the tag team titles over upper body, so no one really got to see much of anything for a long period. Right?
Yeah.
But either way, the match was all right. The match was okay. I'm not gonna sit here and totally destroy it. I mean, it was your basic average heel team versus face team tag match, where the heels got the advantage for most of it and won via cheating. So I'm not gonna really complain about it. It's not great, but it's not trash. It's just it felt like it was there to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, then after the match, they also showed Mark Henry getting help out of the ring because of his injured knee, selling that, which is something you don't do in 2K. That's my one per video.
Oh, yeah, no, guys, don't let him fool you. He's probably going to be doing it again.
Of course, backstage, Kevin Kelly was interviewing Mankind, and Mankind talked about the highlights we saw on Heat with The Rock attacking Mankind's knee with some weapons from behind. And Mankind said, yeah, The Rock was basically doing that to try to get an advantage in the match, the last man standing match. But Mankind also said he's going to get himself in the state of mental preparation that will make him an ugly person, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, huh? Okay, they're really hyping up this last man standing match. Too bad things happened in that match, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Billy Gunn made his way to the ring because he was a referee for the next match, which was the Intercontinental Championship match between champion Ken Shamrock defending against Val Venus, who had Ryan Shamrock in his corner. And of course, they showed the whole video package hyping this match up. Shamrock being jealous, or Shamrock being, the Ken Shamrock being the overprotective brother, I should say, fighting Val Venus into this one, which was Ryan Shamrock's love interest. In storyline, of course. Right?
Yeah.
That's basically it. We don't need to go into any detail there. Right?
Yep.
Of course, after the two made their entrances, the match started off. Val Venus was in control at the start with clotheslines. And he went for a pinfall, but Billy Gunn was slow because at this point, Billy Gunn hated both people, both Shamrock and Venus, so he didn't really give a shit who won. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, at one point near the start, Shamrock freaking got a hard Irish whip on the freaking Venus in the turnbuckle, followed by a clothesline. So yeah, after repeated kicks, the Venus freaking Shamrock worked over Venus with forearms to the chest, while Venus was on the apron. And at this point, the fans were antagonizing Shamrock with Shamrock sucks chants. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Ken Shamrock draped freaking Val's throat over the top rope, and then started yelling at Ryan at ringside. Right?
Yeah.
Distracting
Well,
himself.
because he kept interfering into the match, and he didn't want her to interfere into the match.
At some point, shortly afterwards, Venus blocked a suplex attempt from Shamrock and then hit a delayed suplex of his own, okay, so now Venus is back in control.
Yeah.
And after an inverted atomic drop and an elbow to the face and an elbow drop and followed by another elbow drop, freaking Venus got the cover and went for a 2 count. Gunn taking forever to do the 2 count. I think no, Shamrock at one point had Venus covered, but that'll be later. I think.
Well, Venus had Shamrock pinned. Billy Gunn took a few minutes to do the pin, the count.
Yeah.
Then Val Venus was pissed off at him. And that distraction encountered Shamrock to pin him, which also Billy Gunn did not want to do the fucking pin right away.
Yep.
Which enraged Shamrock.
Yeah. Of course, back in the ring.
And then Shamrock, with Val Venus still on the ground, Shamrock put him in the figure 4, and his sister helped drag him to the bottom rope.
Yeah. Of course, before all that happened, freaking on the outside of the ring, freaking Venus nailed Shamrock's shoulder first into the ring post. And of course, back in the ring, I have to mention this again. Venus put Shamrock in the most devastating hold, a chin lock. That's 3.
Your favorite move, the chin lock.
I know, this was the best pay-per-view ever. We've seen 3 of them already.
Is there going to be even more? Find out.
It's a mystery. Who knows? Right.
Exactly.
And of course, following this, Venus got a bridging pin on the Shamrock for a 2 count. And just to add to this meme, shortly after that 2 count, Venus freaking performed another chin lock on the Shamrock.
Yes.
So that's 4 in one show already that we saw.
Yep.
Instead of questioning the meme, you should just embrace it at this fucking point, because you know I'm going to bring it up. Right?
Of course.
Of course, Shamrock got some momentum going shortly after that with a kick followed by a DDT for a 2 count. And the reason he got a 2 count is Billy Gunn stopped counting on purpose. Right?
Yep.
Billy Gunn was like, fuck you. I ain't counting to 3. Or I count to 3 when I want to count to 3. Right?
Exactly.
So yeah, Shamrock got ticked off, yelled at Billy Gunn about his blatant not counting to 3.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, Billy Gunn here is more impartial than Shawn Michaels was in that cell match that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
At least Billy Gunn didn't freaking strike any of the competitors. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, at this point, with Shamrock distracted, Venus tried to lock a sleeper hold on the Shamrock, but Shamrock countered it with a belly-to-back suplex. Right?
See.
Of course, shortly after this, freaking Venus fought back, charged at Shamrock, who reversed whatever freaking move Venus was going to go for into a power slam for another 2 count. And then Venus freaking fought back, short period later, hit a fisherman suplex for another 2 count because Billy Gunn was slow as hell. Didn't really give a shit, didn't care. Right?
Yeah, he didn't give 2 shits.
Of course, Shamrock flipped over Venus into a cradle pin of his own for another 2 count. All right.
Yeah.
course, Venus at this point, after hitting a Russian leg sweep, went up to the top rope, but Shamrock slammed Venus off the top rope. I think Venus was going for his big splash finisher at this point, but no, Shamrock stopped it. And then Shamrock then nailed the spinning heel kick and Hurricane Rana, and hit a side belly-to-belly slam on the Venus. And Shamrock actually managed to lock on the ankle lock submission hold, but did Val Venus tap out? No. Ryan Shamrock actually extended her hand and pulled Venus to the ropes, which Billy Gunn allowed for some reason, because we know how impartial he is. Right?
Yep.
It's like, so Chin Shamrock got madder, got in her face, asking Ryan, what the hell you're doing? It's like blood is thicker than water, so Ryan slapped him in the face. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then on the outside after that, freaking Shamrock shoved Billy Gunn. Yeah, and then freaking Gunn punched Shamrock. So there goes the unbiased officiating, if there ever was one. And then Billy Gunn sent Shamrock back into the ring, and then Vader. Yeah, and then Val Venus then freaking performed an inside cradle pin on the Shamrock, and Billy Gunn made a very quick fast count.
Yep.
And thus handing Val Venus the Intercontinental Championship. Your thoughts on this one? And Billy Gunn's biased officiating here.
It wasn't biased. He did very well.
Yeah, sure he did. But yeah, your thoughts about this one, bell to bell.
It was interesting.
That officiating, though, was really something. Billy Gunn kind of took the piss out of shit here, I thought. Right?
Yeah.
After the match, freaking Shamrock fought Gunn in the aisleway. Shamrock then went to the back, and then Val Venus celebrated with the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Of course, Billy Gunn went back into the ring and took Venus out with a clothesline too.
Yep.
Pretty much signifying to the crowd that I wasn't siding with anyone. I didn't care about either one of these guys. Right?
Yep.
Of course, after that, freaking Venus left with the IC title with Ryan Shamrock by his side. So yeah, like I said, the match, it was all right. It wasn't the greatest either. But that officiating is something you'd probably see in 2K24 online or some bullshit like that.
Probably.
Of course, moving on, we see a video package about the tag team match that was coming up next, but with Triple H and X-Pac taking on Kane and China.
Yeah, the Corporation versus DX.
Yeah, and the story was China actually turned on Triple H and DX, aligning herself with the Corporation in the weeks preceding this event.
Yep.
Yeah, and then of course, this tag team match challenge was laid out, and Triple H said to China, "Happy Valentine's Day, sweetheart," in the promo leading up to this.
Yep.
So Triple H and X-Pac freaking came out to the classic DX theme song. Kane came out to his theme song at this point. But interesting enough, China did not come out with the theme song that would be synonymous with her. He came out with Mr. McMahon's theme song, the No Chance in Hell theme.
Yeah.
For this match, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that brings us into this next match. Like I mentioned, Triple H and X-Pac against Kane and China in a tag team match. And here's a little interesting thing of note. This was a Valentine's Day pay-per-view, and at the time, Triple H and China were actually dating each other in real life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we know how that ended.
Yeah, she was kind of sour about it because he went with Stephanie instead.
Yeah, but look at Triple H now. In the end, it kind of worked out. Triple H nowadays runs WWE, basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that's because he married the boss's daughter. Either way, even if he didn't do that, I'm pretty sure he'd still be involved with the product today, despite the fact that he had to retire anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's funny, an alternative timeline where Triple H didn't marry Stephanie. I wonder what he'd be doing today with it. For the company, probably not running it, though. Or he could. We don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Shane McMahon came out and joined the commentary team for this match. And he obviously came out there to support Kane and China. And when it came to Shane McMahon talking about Kane here, all I can think about is like, can't wait to review their matches from 2003, am I right?
Yeah.
You made me open 4
So yeah, freaking. So yeah, freaking. Start of the match, Kane freaking got the advantage over Hunter with some punches, then a boot to the face. And of course, Kane missed the elbow drop. X-Pac got the tag in, and Kane started working over him. And then China was like, tag me, and so China got the tag in. And she tagged in and hit a forearm that dropped X-Pac. Yeah, I neglected to mention that X-Pac was also the current European champion at this point. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little later on, freaking X-Pac sent freaking China to the turnbuckle. But X-Pac was going for the Bronco Buster, but China avoided it. Right?
Yeah.
Kane got tagged in, and then Triple H managed to get a punch off the turnbuckle. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, China hit a cheap shot of her own to the back of Hunter who would bounce off the ropes in the match, was a legal person for his team. Right?
Yeah.
And then Kane ducked Hunter with an uppercut, knocking him down. I wonder what Katie Vick thought of that.
Really?
Yes, really. You know those two had the feud over that. Years later.
With the fucking Katie Vick shit.
We know that was your favorite storyline, don't deny it.
Oh, we all know it was your favorite.
Of course, Kane then managed to hit his signature top rope clothesline to Hunter. Also, China got back in against Hunter. China got tagged back in. Of course, Hunter with a punch, hit Hunter with a punch, but tried to hit Hunter with Triple H with a punch, but Triple H blocked it with a suplex.
Yep.
But China then hit a forearm, getting the momentum back. Yeah, and then China actually nailed the freaking scoop body slam, but missed an elbow drop as Triple H moved out of the way. Right?
Yeah.
A little later on in the match, freaking X-Pac and Triple H freaking did a double team suplex on the Kane. And China was on the top rope, so freaking Triple H tossed her into Kane, who caught her, right?
Yeah.
And then Triple H and X-Pac hit a double team DDT onto Kane, along with a clothesline over the top to the floor, right?
Yeah.
Once outside, Kane sent X-Pac into the steel post. But X-Pac moved, and Kane hit the ring post as well. And of course, on the outside, following this, X-Pac freaking attacked Shane McMahon on the outside, thus leading into their match at WrestleMania 15, right?
Yeah, one of the other worst matches of fucking WrestleMania 15.
course, back in the ring, Kane hit a power slam on the X-Pac, and then Shane on commentary was said that X-Pac was going to pay for that. I'm just like, oh God, please. Let's not talk about the Shane and X-Pac feud early. Let's just talk about that when it actually happens. Yeah, and then China got tagged back in and hit a running power slam, I believe, on X-Pac for a 2 count.
Yeah.
And then Kane got back in, and after freaking sending X-Pac into the turnbuckle, freaking Kane then hit a running clothesline on the X-Pac as well.
Yeah.
A little later on, freaking X-Pac, I think he was attempting a top rope move or something. But whatever it was, China sent X-Pac groin first across the top rope while the referee was looking at Hunter on the apron, distracted. So in other words, you can say that China was a dick to X-Pac's Waltmans.
Yes.
I only say that because X-Pac's real name is Sean Waltman.
Yeah.
Yeah, China then later on put X-Pac in a sleeper hold, but X-Pac countered into a belly-to-back suplex. Fred was going crazy for that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. After the hot tag, Triple H was the legal man, and he now punches to China and Kane. Kane then knocked Hunter down, and then Kane then decked X-Pac with a punch, knocking him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Hunter then hit a back body drop onto Kane over the top rope. That kind of looked impressive. So yeah, and X-Pac was out there beating Kane out on the floor, trying to keep him down. Yeah, then Hunter hit a signature jumping knee to the face, but Kane then sent Hunter out to the outside of the ring. Right? The referee was out there following both guys to the floor at this point. And of course, back in the ring, that's when X-Pac freaking nailed a teabag in the corner on China. I mean the Bronco Buster. And boy, did flashbacks to a certain video flash me to that back. We ain't talking about that here. Right? I think you know which video I'm talking about. We don't need to discuss that here. We don't need to discuss that here.
Yes, you do.
Of course, with the referee distracted, Shane actually hit X-Pac with a clothesline from behind. Then he ran away out of the ring, so X-Pac chased Shane all the way to the back. Right? So X-Pac was gone at this point.
Yeah.
So then Kane was sent into the steel steps by Hunter, taking him down. And Triple H nailed his signature face buster onto his knee onto China. And it looked like freaking Triple H was about to nail the pedigree on China, but Kane came back in and hit a choke slam on Triple H. So Triple H was down. So Kane then put freaking China on top of Triple H, and the referee got back in the ring and counted the pinfall victory for Kane and China. So China actually pinned Triple H thanks to Kane's help. So you can say this match ended with China on top.
China was always on top.
So yeah, Kane and China won this match. Kane and China won this match. And yes, people can say China was the original mommy, and I think most of Rhea Ripley's like character was based off of China anyway.
Yes.
So there you go. I mean, a lot of people would say Rhea Ripley is a modern day China, which, yeah, I can see that, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, your thoughts on this match with Kane and China picking up the win here?
It led to a lot of good things in the end.
Yeah, like Triple H turning heel about a month later at WrestleMania and joining the corporation himself, which eventually over time that would help him evolve to the game character that he's well known for.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, that was that. So yeah, now we go on to our semi-main, where but before we do that, they show the video package showing the history of The Rock and Mankind's rivalry over the WWE Championship, or WWF Championship, whatever you want to fucking call it, right?
Yeah.
And it all started with The Rock turning heel at the '98 Survivor Series, where he won his first WWE Championship due to the Montreal Screwjob recreation. At the end of the tournament, Deadly Games tournament here at that point. And then they showed the highlights of Rock Bottom's '98 controversial win from Mick Foley, or Mankind at that point. Saying, oh yeah, they teased Mick Foley won, or Mankind won the championship, but McMahon came out and said, nope, The Rock never tapped out. Yeah, Mankind won, but he didn't win the title. When was that a freaking rolling?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and then they showed the highlights from the January 4th, 1999 edition of Raw, where Mankind won the championship, which forever turned the tides in the Monday Night War battle. I wonder what was happening on Nitro that same night that Mankind won his first championship.
Eric Bischoff being an ass.
Certainly wasn't anything controversial like the finger poke of doom or anything.
Your favorite move.
And of course, they also showed how the rivalry went to the 1999 Rumble, which had that controversial I Quit match that The Rock won after 11 brutal chair shots, despite the fact that Mick Foley never said I quit. They played a recording of him saying I quit. And then they showed the rivalry up to this point, going to the goofiness of that halftime heat match, which Mankind won the championship back. I believe that was the first empty arena match they had. And I'm just thinking about, they predicted the future with that one too. 2020, that's all we need to know. Right? So yeah, now they're like, okay, there has to be a winner here. This is last man standing. There has to be a winner. That should have told you all you needed to know about how this match was going to end. Oh boy. And like they said earlier on, like we talked about earlier on Heat, the Rock attacked Mankind from behind, and Mankind was training with Iron Sheik and Terry Funk at that point, and he attacked the left knee of Mankind bus. And they said there were 2 ambulances waiting outside the building. That should have told you all you needed to know about how this match was going to play out. But before we get to that, let's talk about the meat and bones of this match. Of course, The Rock came out first. He was the challenger. He was wearing his full, ring attire, his shirt, his black shirt, and his track pants.
Yeah.
I guess he had some minor surgery on his upper body before this, at this time period. That's been well documented. Mankind made his entrance as WWE champion here, defending champion. The crowd was the crowd was actually popping for Mankind here. Let's not forget, less than a year earlier than this, had that Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
That is still talked about over 20 years later. Right? Well over 20 years later. Right? Anyway, at the start of the match, Mankind turned his back on The Rock and put his hands behind him, pretty much trying to goat The Rock in, because that's exactly how their last encounter on pay-per-view kind of ended. And then Mankind, The Rock had a free shot at him. He was crazy, but yeah, and then The Rock beat on Mankind with punches and a kick to the knee. Right. Of course, The Rock was distracted at this point by the referee, so Mankind hit him with the W Championship belt to knock him down. And then they spilled outside the ring. It's like, yeah, you went to the outside, freaking, yeah, and then I think freaking Mankind got whipped in the steel part of the ring, the steel part of the set here. Or I think Mankind whipped the Rock into it, right?
Yeah.
Rock, yeah, and then afterwards, freaking Rock got payback and he whipped Mankind into the steel structure part of the entrance set here, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Mankind then hit Rock with a DDT through a table that had, like, ring equipment on it and monitors and shit. But don't worry, The Rock didn't really suffer that much. There was a bag of Lay's chips that freaking softened the blow, because we know that's just full of air. Yeah, right.
It wasn't a bag of Lay's, it was a bag of Ruffles.
Yeah, whatever. It was mostly an airbag. Yeah, and then they went over to section. They went over to a section of the extra seats that really had nobody there towards the back of the arena. And then Rock ended up hitting a belly to belly onto this belly to back suplex on Mankind onto the cement floor. That looked devastating. And there's a lot of devastating shots in this match that look painful to see, by the way. Of course, once they got back towards the ring, Mankind sent Rock through the steel steps. Yep. And the Rock landed on his right shoulder here. And then Mankind then hit a body slam, and then he ran to the rope. He ran to the rope with his own version of the People's Elbow, but the Rock moved out of the way to avoid the elbow drop.
Yeah.
The People's Elbow, that was more like the stock elbow, and that didn't work.
No, that never worked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the Rock freaking ended up hitting 2 suplexes onto the floor. He ended up hitting 3 suplexes on the floor. Right? On the Mankind.
Yeah.
And then the Rock decided, I'm going to go on commentary and talked about how Mankind was a piece of crap. Taunting Mankind here. I'm sorry, heel or face, Rock was always funny when he was on a mic or the commentary headset. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Mankind freaking tackled the Rock and beat him down with punches at the announcer's commentary table. And of course, Mankind went up on the ring apron and then hit the elbow on the back of the Rock while Rock was on the announce table. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, referee Hedner counted both men down to they got about 7 or 8. Right? And of course, Mankind then sent Rock into the steel steps. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, then Mankind brought the top half of the steel steps into the ring. Now, this is crucial to remember later. Mankind charged with the steps, but the Rock got his feet up and kicked the steps into Mankind's head. Rock brought the chair into the ring and hit Mankind in the back of the left knee about 4 times. Right?
Yeah.
The Rock went for the chair shot. Mankind left, so the Rock hit himself with a chair. Right? Ducked it. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, the chair ricocheted off the top rope and hit Rock in the face. Right?
Yeah.
Both guys were counted out for a few seconds, but they got back up. Right?
Yeah. They hit each other with their finishing moves.
Yeah, and then Mankind sent the Rock to the bottom half of the steel steps on the outside. They went over to the other announcer's table. Mankind teased a power driver, but Rock gave him a back body drop, sent Mankind's left leg into the announcer's table and his head onto the edge of the regular announce table. That looked devastating, didn't it?
That was kind of brutal.
I'm like, he could have cracked the back of his... Mick Foley could have cracked the back of his head open and broke his freaking leg at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course, the referee started counting, and this is the part that made me cringe the most. As if that back body drop wasn't devastating enough, with Bag of Foley's head cracking on the announce table and his leg smacking against the timekeeper area barricade. When Mankind was down and out, the referee's counting, The Rock decided, I'm going to take these steel stairs and throw them over the top rope. And the steel stairs nailed Mick Foley in the friggin' thigh.
Yeah, McFoley was lucky as hell he didn't go blind that night.
And I'm just like, I looked at him like, ow, fuck. How? Why? Right?
Yeah.
The only saving grace for Mick Foley there, because there's a lot of speculation how heavy those ring steps really are. He's just like The Rock hit him in the freaking thigh with it, not the fucking head. Right?
Yeah.
Ugh. And I'm like, and I thought to myself, how is Mick Foley still walking these days after taking that shit? I mean, it took a lot of shit, but that looked like it hurt like a bitch. Right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah, Mankind got up around 5. That would have put a normal person down for the 10. Then Rock brought a chair back into the ring, and then Rock hit a body slam. And then he nailed the people's elbow, known as the Corbin elbow at that time, onto Mankind.
Yes.
And of course, the referee counted until he got the Rock down after that. He got back up, and then the Rock did a promo saying he proved why he's the most electrifying man in sports entertainment today. And the Rock then started singing the SmackDown Hotel song since they were in Memphis, where Elvis was from.
Yep.
Of course, right in the middle of that, freaking Mankind ended up applying the mandible claw on the Rock, and they both of them ran into Earl Hebner, the referee. And well, the referee was down now at this point. It's like Mankind took Rock down to the mat, and the Rock was down for a visual 10 count. Thus, logically, Mankind would have already won this last man standing match at that point.
Yeah.
But Mankind then rolled freaking Hebner back into the referee, Earl Hebner back into the ring. And of course, Mankind did a fast count. Earl Hebner continued the count, but the Rock was up at 8. Thus false finishing. And then the Rock ended up freaking low blowing freaking Mankind, so the Rock was freaking a dick to Mick Foley's here. Which led to a DDT. Yes, fine. Fine, Rock was a dick to Mankind Sockos. Are you happy? And that led to a DDT and another count from Earl Hebner with Mankind getting up at 6.
Yeah.
Rock then took a chair, swung it, but Mankind moved, and Mankind hit. It's like Mankind then hit a DDT on the Rock onto a steel chair, but Rock got up before the 10 count. It was really close, right?
Yep.
And of course, Mankind then reached into his pants, pulled out Mr. Socko, right?
Yeah.
And was going to apply the mandible claw, but the Rock then freaking kicked the knee, hit a knee to the groin of Mankind. Whatever, but Mankind wasn't phased. He applied Mr. Socko again, mandible claw again, but the Rock didn't hit a rock bottom. Both guys were up at 8, so everyone was like, okay, someone's got to give. Someone's got to win this.
But she sold more than you did in 2K.
Stop stealing my joke. You son of a bitch. And then both of them picked up a steel chair. They charged at each other and gave each other a shot to the head with the steel chairs.
Yep.
So both of them were down, and then the referee started counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yada, yada. And then he reached the 10 count, which signified that this match ended in a draw and that nobody won.
Yep.
Everyone hated that finish. But in retrospect, that meant Mankind was still champion at this point.
Yeah.
and both men were stretchered out of the arena, and the crowd were chanting bullshit. So, bell to bell, your thoughts on this match? I mean, before the ending of the match, it was a violent match, no doubt, but it doesn't really get talked about like their other encounters due to the finish.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had, and of course, after the match, obviously they were stretched out of the arena, ended up going into an ambulance to presumably go to the hospital, but
Well, Mick Foley or Mankind, he was literally, are you carrying me out the stretcher?
so yeah, that match didn't really work. That match kind of ended crappy, and of course, the next night on Raw, The Rock would go on to defeat Mankind to win the WWE Championship once again after interference from Paul White in a ladder match. Because we knew the end goal was going to be The Rock and Austin at WrestleMania anyway. I just don't get why they couldn't have had, creatively had The Rock cheat to win or something and get the championship here at this event instead.
Yeah.
That would have made, it would have been bullshit for The Rock, for their rivalry to end on that note, but it would have made sense compared to what we got.
Yeah.
But, bell to bell, before, the ending, which hurt it a lot, it was carnage. It was cringy, and it was freaking carnage, and it was hard hitting. Something you would expect out of a Mankind Rock encounter like this.
Yep.
So, yeah. But, it's the ending that kind of hurts it for me, just by a little bit. Yeah, did they have better, more violent matches? Yeah, but, this one I wouldn't really pass up on despite the finish. I mean, them freaking steel steps being dropped onto Mick Foley's legs, though. Whew. And the fact that, and also before that, Foley or Mankind cracking his head off the announcer table and the freaking like bell timekeeper barrier right there. His legs snapping off at the same time on that back body drop. Also devastating to see. So yeah, Mick Foley earned his paycheck that night. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
So yeah, and then now it's time to go to the main event. Whew. I think this was the reason why you chose this pay-per-view. But anyway.
McMahon and Austin fight?
Yep. They showed the video package for Austin versus Vince McMahon and how their rivalry lasted for nearly a year or over a year, whatever, at this point. Vince McMahon, and they showed Mr. McMahon eliminating Steve Austin to win the Royal Rumble match that happened the month prior to this. Your favorite Rumble. Oh, sorry, I forgot. The 99 Rumble was your second favorite Rumble, your first one being 2015's.
No, hell no. Fuck you. We all know that was your favorite Royal Rumble.
And Vince cut a promo the next night Raw after the Rumble saying that he waived all rights and privileges as the number one contender. So Commissioner Shawn Michaels said that Austin, the runner-up, took his place in the WrestleMania 15 main event, which Vince hated. Right?
Yeah.
And then Austin said he would put up his number one contendership if Vince faced him in a steel cage match. It's a Valentine's Day Massacre, which Vince said you got your match. And Vince guaranteed Austin that nobody from the corporation will interfere in this match. And Vince pinned Austin on the ride prior to this, since Austin had to face everybody in the corporation in a gauntlet match. And that should tell you right there,
Yeah.
since the freaking heel got the visual win at the show leading up to this, Austin was going to beat the hell out of McMahon on pay-per-view. Right?
Well, he had to go through all the freaking corporation just to even get a chance to go against Mr. McMahon. So he was building up all his frustration to use up against Mr. McMahon.
And of course, this wasn't the traditional steel cage match, steel cage that we're used to seeing nowadays. This was the old school black bar steel cage that they put around ringside, around the ring.
Yeah.
Steve Austin made his entrance first to a huge pop, like always at this point. Right? He was the most popular guy of the company. He was the face of the WWE or WWF at this point, because this was the height of the Attitude Era here.
Yeah.
And of course, Vince McMahon made his entrance alone, wearing black tank top and his black jeans, which would go on to be like his his well-known wrestling attire moving forward from this point, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Vince McMahon back then, I think he was in his 50s, but he looked jacked as shit. So that guy never missed an exercise day at the gym in his life, right?
Yeah.
So we have to give him credit, even though I don't want to give McMahon credit for anything these days. We know the reasons why.
Uh-huh.
Of course, Vince got down the ring and he teased climbing over the cage again in the ring, but he didn't. He dropped down and then he teased of going through the door, but he didn't. After Austin chased him off. Of course, Austin chased him off, and then Vince freaking prevented him from doing that. Then Austin tweaked his knee onto the floor after Vince was trying to prevent Austin from getting back into the cage.
Yep.
So Vince was like, Austin's hurt. I'm going to go out there now and beat the hell out of him. But nope. Austin was playing possum, and he decked McMahon with a clothesline. Then Austin whipped Vince into the cage and then choked him with the cable from the camera. Right?
Yeah.
Then Austin sent Vince to the steel steps with Vince taking it right onto the knees, right?
Yeah.
Of course, McMahon tried to fight back with an eye gouge, and then he whipped Austin into the cage. So yeah. Of course, Vince tried to leave through the crowd here, and then Austin went after him by punching him in the back repeatedly. So yeah, and then they made their way back down over the barricade, right? Vince did another eye gouge, but Austin sent Vince back over the barricade towards the ring anyway. No selling that rake to the eyes from Vince, just like you in 2K. Oh wait, never mind.
Hey, there's the second one.
I'm just
the third one there.
Hey man, I only said that a second time because you stole my joke the second time, you ass.
So I knew you were gonna fucking put it in there, you stupid son of a bitch. Because you always fucking that's one per video. Bullshit, that's one per video. There's fucking multiple per video, you stupid son of a bitch. And I have proof.
I can only imagine the next time you and I actually face off online on 2K, you'd probably be beating the hell out of me saying, this is for all those stupid jokes and those reviews.
Exactly, I'll be Eric Bischoff yet again.
Fuck off with that bullshit. And of course of this, Austin sent Vince into the barricade and into the steel cage. Of course, Vince tried to climb the cage. So Austin threw him into the cage and then stomped him in the chest. And of course, Vince tried to still escape, tried to get back in the ring, climbed up the side of the cage, so Austin went after him. And well,
this kind of reminded me of the Mick Foley cage match where he literally got thrown off the cage and into the fucking announcer desk.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's what the Vince was trying to climb. Austin followed him up there. And, well, Vince sent Austin into the cage, and then Vince freaking took that huge bump off the side of the cage through the Spanish announce table. And Cole was on commentary saying, Vince freaking fell 20 feet off the cage. And somewhere in the back, Mankind was thinking to himself, saying, that's cute. You know what I'm talking about. Right?
Yes.
And of course,
Mankind wasn't backstage. He was at the hospital.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he's seen this match afterwards. He probably thought, that's cute. Right? Of course, Austin climbed back into the ring. The match still wasn't officially underway, by the way.
Yeah, no, they didn't get into the ring until Stone Cold threw Mr. McMahon into the ring.
Yeah, later on. They were like, oh, yeah. It was 15 feet high, and Vince landed on the table. And of course, even Michael Cole yelled out, "I think he's dead," even though he was clearly moving around a little bit. Like, yeah, way to over-exaggerate, Cole. This is why your career sucked. Right?
Why don't you take notes, Dustin? He actually has a famous career.
I'm saying back then, of course, this was back when Michael Cole was new to the company still.
Yeah.
He wouldn't become the 10-year veteran announcer yet, like he is now at this point.
Yeah.
God, that orange singlet. Oh, fuck me.
Oh, yes, I know you love that orange singlet.
Anyway, multiple referees came down checking on Vince McMahon. And, anyway, either way, they put Vince McMahon on a stretcher, and Howard Finkel was in the ring with the referee. And Howard was about to announce Austin as winner, but Austin took the microphone away and said, "That's bullshit."
Yeah.
Austin said that he came out here to make a few guarantees in this match, and none of them happened yet, and that piece of shit ain't gonna freaking goddamn take an easy loss like that. After he asked, and he even said to Vince, "Hey, jackass, that's you in the black. Is he still breathing? Yeah. He ain't gonna get off that easy." Right?
Yep.
And then he asked the crowd saying, "If you want me to finish this can of whoop ass, give me a hell yeah." And the crowd went hell yeah. As expected.
Yeah.
And
I never really liked Mr. McMahon.
And of course that led Austin to get out of the freaking cage and go after Vince, who was on a stretcher. But then then Austin got control of the stretcher and wheeled Vince back into the ringside area, whipped it up, and then freaking Vince went headfirst to the steel cage. Still wearing a ridiculous neck brace, I should say, right?
Yep.
Then Austin...
They were going to stretcher his ass out, but don't go like, you ain't getting out of here that easy.
Yeah, then Austin then hit Vince with a stretcher board and then tossed Vince into the cage again. And then Austin then dumped Vince back into the cage to the door, and then Austin himself got into the cage, and the referee closed the door and rang the bell, signifying the official start to this match. Right?
Yep.
And that was just before the match. This wasn't there, and it was already chaotic as it was.
Yeah.
And I believe this was also Vince McMahon's first ever one-on-one singles match on a pay-per-view, too. Lord knows he didn't have a whole lot of them, and most of his one-on-one matches on pay-per-view saw him get his ass kicked. And this was example number 1, right? Of course, the only way to win this match was to escape the cage, right? Yeah, then Austin did an elbow drop off the metal ropes and did it. And then he did it again, and then the crowd was chanting Austin the whole time. Then Austin asked for the door to be open, and Austin walked out of the steel steps. You thought this was going to be short. But then he looked back in the ring, and there was Vince giving him the finger.
Double finger.
And then Austin was like, okay, he wants it that way, screw him. So he walked right back in the ring and started attacking Vince some more. With punches and kicks.
Exactly.
And ram freaking Vince into the turnbuckle. Of course, right when Austin freaking was about to attack Vince some more, freaking Vince kicked him in the groin, so Vince was addicted to Steve Austin's here.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, a better thing would say is like he was addicted to Stone Cold's rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
But then Austin responded by throwing, and then Vince threw Austin into the cage. Yes. Following that, of course, Vince tried to climb to the top of the cage, and of course he had both feet over the top of the cage. But then Austin stopped him, brought him back down with a slam, brought him back in the ring with a slam off the top rope. Right?
Yeah.
Because we all know Vince wasn't going to win this. And of course, Vince then whipped Vince face first. Austin then whipped Vince face first into the steel cage. This actually busted Vince open. Then Austin whipped Vince in the steel cage again, and then Austin was talking more and more shit to Vince. And Vince, at this point, beaten down, bloodied, destroyed convincingly. With that, freaking Austin tried to climb out of the cage again, and he was nearly at the bottom when Vince got back up and gave him another double finger salute. This time with blood all over Vince's face and body. Right?
Yeah.
So Austin got back into the ring and then stomped on Vince some more, along with another punch to the face. And Austin even set up for a stunner and delivered and nailed Vince McMahon with a stunner. Right?
Yep.
So at this point, we knew Austin was going to win. We were like, okay, just mercy kill this thing, right?
Yeah.
And of course, with Vince McMahon down, Austin was sitting there talking trash once again to Vince, like he always does, which led to the Giant from WCW appearing from under the ring. And then Cole screamed out, "It's Paul White," which he would later become known as the Big Show. Yes, this was Big Show's WWE debut. Right?
Yes.
And yeah, and then right when he appeared, he threw Austin into the steel cage twice. Yeah, and then freaking the fans were going nuts because they knew who he was from WCW, right?
Yeah.
And then Vince wanted Big Show or White, whatever you want to call him, to throw Austin into the cage. So
well, he wanted Paul White, which he went by his full name
first
when he first debuted, and then he later became the Big Show.
But whatever, for this context, I'm going to say it's like Show picked Austin up, threw him into the side of the cage, and the side of the cage ended up breaking. And which allowed Austin to land on the floor and win the match.
He went swinging on the cage, on the fucking cage wall, and then that hit the other side, and then Austin's like, fuck it, let go, got to the ground.
Yeah, so therefore Austin won this match like easily predicted. So your thoughts on this match, Bell to Bell. And Mr. McMahon was right. A corporate member did not interfere in this match. A debuting superstar did.
Exactly.
So McMahon technically was still true to his word here. So yeah, your thoughts on this steel cage main event, which was just basically the McMahon Massacre here. Oh yeah, and I also have to point this joke out. WWE predicted the future 26 years ago when they had Mr. McMahon behind bars.
Really?
Yes, I have to go there with that joke.
He's not behind bars yet.
Oh, but you know the story. But you know the story.
It may not be true.
But anyway, that little fucked up joke aside, your thoughts on this steel cage match from bell to bell.
It was a good match. Was it the greatest match? No. Did they have better matches? Yes.
And of course, after the match, freaking the look on Mr. McMahon or Vince McMahon's face was priceless, knowing that, well, Austin's going to WrestleMania, and there ain't nothing I can do about it.
Yep.
All bloody and shit like that. So, okay, so we reviewed this whole show. So now we get to our, what I always like to call it, our favorite segment of the review here, which is our rating systems for each match and our overall grade of the event. So, Goldust defeating Blue Dust. I gave that one 1 out of 5. It was crap.
5 out of 5.
I get 1 out of 5, and that's being nice. I could have straight up given it a 0. I could have.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, you gave it 5 out of 5. You always say that because of the jokes. I gave it 1 out of 5 as a goddamn match. It really did nothing for me. Anyway, Bob Holly defeating Al Snow in that hardcore match to win the vacant hardcore championship. I gave that one 4 out of 5.
4.5.
It's about the same, basically. The Big Boss Man defeating Median in that throwaway match. It felt average. I gave it 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 2.
I enjoyed it slightly more than you did. Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett defeating D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry to retain the tag team championships. I gave that one 3 3/4 out of 5.
Honest, I'd have to just give it a 3. It wasn't their best.
Yeah, I just gave it 3 3/4. That's being nice. Right.
Yeah.
Knowing it was one of Owen Hart's last pay-per-view matches in his life. That's why I gave it that score.
Yeah.
Val Venus defeating Ken Shamrock to win the Intercontinental Championship with Billy Gunn as the referee. I gave that one 3 out of 5.
4.5.
All right, fair enough. Chyna and Kane defeating Triple H and X-Pac in that tag team match. I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Man, you giving 5 out of 5 is like they're candy. I've not given a 5 out of 5 this whole dang show, and there's a reason for that. WWE Champion Mankind taking on The Rock that ended in a draw in a last man standing match. I gave that one 4 out of 5 only because the ending hurt it.
I was going to give it a 5 out of 5, but it only deserves 3.5.
Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5, not because of the crap ending, that's why it lost points, but I gave it the 4 out of 5 because of the devastation beforehand. And of course, the main event where Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Mr. McMahon in that steel cage match. That also featured the debut of the Big Show. I gave that one 4.5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
So yeah, my overall grade for St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House, I gave it a B.
About the same.
I was dwelling on C territory, but that main event saved the pay-per-view from being a total crap out on the grade. Imagine if that last man standing match was a main event and it ended on a double count out. People would hate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our thoughts. That's our review and our thoughts on the St. Valentine's Day Massacre 99.
Yep.
So yeah, next week on the review, it's my pick. And you know, I was thinking about this a lot, and I was teetering, do I want to go an event that happened in the summertime, or do I want to stick with, like, you know, the February classic pay-per-views? And since it is February, I decided, you know what? I'm going to stick with February's events. And I want to review an event that went down in history as a great event that happened during the month of February. And it was, in the event I'm talking about, literally happened a year after this event that we just talked about. So next week on the review, we're going to be reviewing No Way Out 2000 that had the Triple H and Cactus Jack Hell in a Cell match for the title.
Oh, I didn't think you were doing that one.
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to be doing that one either, but I thought about that as I was watching this. And I'm just like, well, that's what I'm going to go with. I can do the other events I thought about later on.
No.
Yeah, and at this point in that match, we know Cactus Jack's career was on the line. And that ended up being one of the best and most brutal Hell in a Cell matches, too.
Yeah. That's still not as bad as one versus The Undertaker, but
It was still memorable and noteworthy.
yeah, but there's not going to be one like Mankind versus The Undertaker where he almost got right.
Oh, there ain't never going to be a match like that, but this one is still remembered fondly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, that being said, we will see you next week when we do our No Way Out 2000 review. Until then, I will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Deuces.